And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories twice a day, every day. Now, y'all, you already know your girl Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston. The mayor who does not keep track of how much money she spends on this thing and on that thing. She has a AAA bond rating, right? But she just doesn't keep track of how much money she spends. And now maybe she should have been keeping track because the public defenders in her city of Boston are saying, hey, you're not paying us enough. And so therefore, we are not defending anybody anymore until you pay us more. Now, that might sound like a minor problem, but already over 120 people who are on criminal trial or who would be on criminal trial if they had a lawyer, if they had a public defender, over 120 of them have already been released. Now this is reaching crisis levels. Now it looks like up to hundreds, maybe even thousands more people who would be going to trial for crimes, y'all, may be released because the public defender says, hey, you're not paying us enough. And y'all know where I say that money went, right? It went to help people who are in the country without permission. So this is something that we talked about. So this is reaching crisis levels, just as the mayoral campaign, the mayoral race is heating up. Michelle Wu and Boston are releasing hundreds and hundreds of people who are suspected of crimes. And frankly, there doesn't seem to be any end in sight for this crisis. Take a look. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of your money. I'm not going to make this a long one, y'all. Go to Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com or call 844-651-8334, 844-651-8334. If you have $50,000 to $100,000 or more in your retirement, protected from inflation, protected from monetary debasement, you're about to retire. Make sure your money's still there and it's still worth something by investing at least some of it in gold. Talk to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Go click the link now, get the free information, and protect your precious retirement.
The Massachusetts state legislature gets closer to August recess. Negotiations with bar advocates are at a standstill. The private attorneys who contract with the state to represent low-income defendants are pushing for higher pay, but lawmakers say the proposed increase could cost up to $100 million.
It's a pay issue all around.
As the state legislature gets ready to take off for the month of August, negotiations with bar advocates are showing little signs of progress.
I am losing hope the more that this goes on.
They've stopped taking on new clients while pushing for a pay increase. Bar advocates are private attorneys that contract through the state. They represent 80% of defendants who can't afford a lawyer. The rest are represented by public defenders hired by the state full-time. A spokesperson for the Senate Ways and Means Committee says the current situation is unsustainable. We are having active conversations in the legislature, but it remains our hope that the bar advocates will get back to work. Bar advocates have proposed an increase from $65 to $100 an hour. They say that's in line with other salaries in New England. The state says the wage increase, though, would cost between $90 and $100 million.
If this is important to the state of Massachusetts, somebody's right to counsel, if that's important to them, then it's important that they fund it. If they're going to spend the money to prosecute, they have to spend the money on the other side, which is the defense.
Judges were forced to dismiss more than 120 cases after a recent ruling invoked the LaValle Protocol. It requires anyone who's been in custody for 7 days and is not represented by a lawyer to be set free. Some defendants without a lawyer for 45 days are having the charges against them dismissed. That's causing some, including the governor, to raise safety concerns.
This is a public safety issue and also a due process issue as people need representation.
Bar advocates say they've spoken to several state senators and representatives over Zoom, but they haven't had a seat at the table during formal negotiations. The House and the Senate both say discussions are ongoing and they're hoping to address the issue through future legislation. Bar advocates say the work stoppage was not an easy decision and they're hoping to reach an agreement soon.
It's not something that we've taken lightly. There's a lot of things that come out of bar advocates' pocket. Sometimes if your client doesn't have anything to wear to court, you'll see a bar advocate buying a suit for him or shoes. There's a lot of things that we're not compensated for that come out of our own pocket just because we care about people.
The legislature goes on recess on Friday.
So negotiations are at a standstill, right? And what does that mean to you? It means, hey, legislature, we've done our job here so far. Let's go home. Let's go back to home and call a recess and we'll handle this later. That's what it means when you have negotiations at a standstill and hundreds of people charged with crimes being released because they don't have their constitutional right, which is a public defender if they cannot afford a private defender. Now, on top of all of that, the governor of Massachusetts is starting to get involved. She's right there with Wu, though. She's been wishy-washy with her policies, but she's also overseeing the spending of over $1 billion a year on people who are in the country without permission. So the public defenders are looking for another $100 million. Do you think if they hadn't spent that billy, they might have $100 million? I think they would have $100 million and then $900 million left over from just 1 year. Let's take a look.
We're at the State House where lawmakers have said that there are talks underway. They are in negotiations in order to stop this work stoppage. But in the meantime, they say bar advocates should get back to work. Now, in Lowell District Court, some defendants were released from jail because they didn't have access to lawyers after 7 days. And yesterday at Boston Municipal Court, more than 100 cases were dismissed because defendants had gone 45 days without lawyers. Private lawyers who are paid by the state to represent poor clients say they want a pay raise, and they're not taking new cases until that happens. While both the governor and House Speaker say they want them to be paid fairly, there are also questions about federal funding cuts and what the state can afford. Lawmakers have said what bar advocates want could cost $100 million.
My hope is that we see a resolution very, very quickly. And in the meantime, I'd like to see lawyers back in court representing defendants.
It's going to take some movement on both sides to sort of get to a position where we can get these folks back into taking cases.
Now, a Senate Ways and Means spokesperson tells us the whole situation is not sustainable, says conversations are active, and they hope bar advocates will, in fact, get back to work. The Committee for Public Counsel Services, essentially the Public Defender's Office, they say 25 defendants have been released because they didn't have access to lawyers. We're live on Beacon Hill. Sharman Siketti, WCVB News Center 5.
So, y'all, in case you didn't see our first report on this whole situation, I'm going to flow right into that. I mean, this is just unbelievable, people. I want y'all to let me know what you think about this down in the comments. But let's go ahead and flow into our original report so you can get all of the background on this crazy situation.
Mayor Wu, in the city of Boston, how much did you spend?
We don't ask about immigration status and delivering city
You don't
services,
ask
so
about
we
how
don't
much
have
money
that
the city of Boston has spent on illegal immigration?
We
Are
don't
you out of your
distinguish
mind?
between immigration status.
Do you
as
manage
part
your
of our
budget
city
or not,
policies.
Mayor Wu?
That is how we keep
Mayor
our city
Wu,
safe.
do you manage your budget or
We have the
not?
numbers to prove it. I manage my budget. I have a AAA bond rating dating back 10 years.
So to the city of Boston,
budget.
just understand that your mayor does not care how much of your resources she has spent on people who are not citizens
The city of Boston
the city of
is
Boston.
sick.
A few moments later.
In Boston, where a real legal crisis is taking root, more than 100 criminal cases now dismissed as public defenders refuse to take on new cases in a dispute over money.
Boston, where your girl Michelle Wu says that she has the budget under control. She has a AAA bond rating where she says that spending all of the city's money on helping people who are in the country without permission. This is the story that comes out of Boston. And what's happening in Boston? Well, 100 criminal cases have just been dismissed because the city does not have money to adequately pay public defenders. See, y'all, money is what we call fungible. What does that mean? That means that $1 equals $1. So when you spend $1 here, that's $1 that you don't have to spend over there. You see where I'm going? So you can't just say, oh, the budget is for this and no, because you know what? If you have a need in the budget and you didn't spend that $1 over there, well, now you have that $1 free still to spend it over here. The state of Massachusetts is spending upwards of $1 billion per year right now to help people who are in this country without permission. Now they're having to let criminals go free because they cannot provide those people their constitutional rights. So first we're going to get into this story, y'all, and then we're going to flash back to a similar situation in Atlanta, Georgia, where it is even more egregious, where a public defender in the infamous YSL RICO trial said she was going to have to actually go to OnlyFans because she was being paid the equivalent of somewhere less than minimum wage. Let's just put it like that. She was being paid less than minimum wage and had to fight, kick, claw, and scream just to get a wage that's still far below what anybody would work on such a trial for. So y'all, this is a problem. Let's go ahead and hop into what's happening in Boston, where your girl, Michelle Wu, says she has her budget under control, but she can't even afford to pay for criminals to have representation. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of your money. I'm not going to make this a long one, y'all. Go to Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com, or call 844-651-8334, 844-651-8334. If you have $50,000 to $100,000 or more in your retirement, protected from inflation, protected from monetary debasement, you're about to retire. Make sure your money's still there and it's still worth something by investing at least some of it in gold. Talk to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Go click the link now, get the free information, and protect your precious retirement.
I'm Bob Ward in Boston, where a real legal crisis is taking root. More than 100 criminal cases now dismissed as public defenders refuse to take on new cases in a dispute over money. At Boston Municipal Court in a special hearing, Chief Justice Tracy Lee Lyons dismisses more than 100 criminal cases. The action taken as public defenders' work stoppage in a dispute over wages takes a dramatic turn.
This case will be dismissed without prejudice.
I'm Bob Ward in Boston, where a real legal crisis is taking root. More than 100 criminal cases now dismissed as public defenders refuse to take on new cases in a dispute over money. At Boston Municipal Court in a special hearing, Chief Justice Tracy Lee Lyons dismisses more than 100 criminal cases. The action taken as public defenders' work stoppage in a dispute over wages takes a dramatic turn.
This case will be dismissed without prejudice.
This legal crisis began in May when court-appointed attorneys stopped taking on new cases, saying the state's $65 an hour rate is an unlivable wage. They say neighboring states pay their public defenders twice as much. An SJC justice ordered the release of any indigent defendant held longer than 7 days. And she ruled that all charges be dropped if any indigent defendant case is older than 45 days. At BMC, most of the charges dropped were for nonviolent crimes. However, several involved assaults on police officers, domestic violence assaults, and the use of dangerous weapons. In Fall River, Governor Healey called for lawmakers to act.
This is a matter of public safety, and so they've got to sort this out and resolve this.
Boston defense attorney Phil Tracy agrees that something has to change.
People are going to get hurt. Wives, robberies are going to take place by guys who were already in jail, and now they're out.
In a statement, the Suffolk County DA's office said, the case dismissals today, with many more expected in coming days and weeks, present a clear and continuing threat to public safety. We remain hopeful that a structural solution will be found to address the causal issues here and prevent any repeat. But right now, there is no deal on the table to raise the rate for public defenders. In Boston, I'm Bob Ward for your local station, Boston 25 News.
Now, you might say, I don't care. I don't want criminals to have representation. Okay, well, if you're one of those people, then what you're saying is, in effect, that you just want them to go free, because the United States Supreme Court has ruled that you have the right to an attorney. If the attorneys say, hey, this payment that you're giving me, I'm not working for that. And you say, well, we don't have any more money because, they're not going to say this, but we don't have any more money because we gave it to the people who are in the country without permission. Do you see where we're going? So all of these things have ramifications, repercussions, and ramifications. Now, this news report did not connect the dots, but that's what I'm here for. I'm here to connect those dots for you. See, if you don't spend that $1 billion helping people who are in the country without permission, if you don't spend that $1 billion on them, guess what you have another $1 billion for? Public defenders and other services that citizens have as constitutional rights, and even services that citizens don't have a constitutional right to, but are services that would benefit the citizens. Now, y'all, again, I told you, I previewed, we're going to show you one of the most egregious of these such situations. This wasn't from Boston, but you think I'm joking when I said that the lawyer said she was going to do OnlyFans, or that she might have to do OnlyFans? Check this out, y'all. I mean, because again, when you have limited money, when you have limited funds, you have to use it wisely. And again, providing constitutional rights for people accused of crimes, when you want to put them away, when you don't want them on the street, I would say that's one of the primary ways that you want to use your budget. Let's take a look.
Defense attorneys say what happened inside, they were disappointed. That's because they claim they're not getting enough money to represent those who need public attorneys.
This case is slated to last for about a year, and if you were to do the math, it would be $6 an hour. I can't take any new cases. I can't close any cases. I need something to survive off of.
Criminal defense attorney Angela D. Williams calling out the Georgia Public Defender Council, which is the state agency that appointed her to represent one of the defendants charged in the Young Slime Life gang case against rapper Young Thug and his alleged associates.
But we were under the impression that GPDC was advocating for us, and once they put those walls up, I'm thinking maybe I need to start an OnlyFans?
D. Williams says she came to court today hoping to question GPDC's executive director, Amatayo Ali.
I asked for additional funds back in March, and that was met with a letter from the director saying she doesn't need to meet with me anymore.
But the executive director never took the stand. Instead, one of her lawyers stepped in for her.
I'll just stand on my motion as far as my argument to hear what Ms. Ali could possibly have to offer the court that couldn't be available through me or someone else.
Okay, let me take a few minutes out and let me let you talk with Ms. Glazier.
After a 10-minute closed-door meeting between D. Williams and GPDC, the two parties agreed they would meet again within the next 2 weeks. While a spokesperson for GPDC says they're working to find additional funds for lawyers who are currently getting paid $15,000 for this entire case.
If they really cared about those who are indigent, they would use the taxpayers' money wisely.
And guys, just the latest numbers we have dating back to August. The reality situation is 85% of defendants in Georgia are indigent. And as of last August, again, more than 600 were unrepresentative. Again, though, a spokesperson for that state organization says they are working to find alternative funding. But of course, right now, there are 4 attorneys in this case who could potentially be leaving because of lack of funds. We are live in downtown Atlanta. Michael Seiden, Channel 2 Action News.
So, y'all, my people, you all watching this, I don't know if you're the tough on crime crowd. I don't know if you're the tough on crime crowd. I don't know if you're sympathetic to criminals or not. But I know one thing, nobody wants to be dismissing 100 criminal cases because you can't afford to pay the public defenders, okay? Now, you might say $65 an hour. Hey, that sounds pretty good to me. That's not pretty good for a lawyer, y'all. I mean, so whether you think lawyers should be paid more or less, lawyers typically are gonna, $150, $200 an hour, something like that. You can probably get good lawyers to work cases. But $65 an hour, and you're thinking, hey, that's $130,000 a year. That's not bad. Obviously it is, because they're refusing to work for that. And these cases are being dropped, which means some of these people are innocent and their cases are dropped, and it's probably a relief for them. Some of these people are guilty. And this is a huge reprieve for people who should otherwise be going to incarceration. Now they're going back out on the streets. What happens when they commit another crime? What happens when they say, I still need a public defender? What happens when the public defender says, I'm still not working for that $65 an hour? I'm not saying this is a crisis, but if this were to continue, this could certainly be a crisis. And again, wouldn't they love to claw back that $1 billion that they spent on people who are in the country without permission? Anyway, y'all, I want y'all to let me know, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Again, I can kind of hear some of you saying, hey, I don't even think you should get a free lawyer. But that's not the point now, is it? Because the Supreme Court says that you must provide them a legal counsel, that the state must provide them. So the question is not even should they or shouldn't they? The question is, because they shouldn't they be using the money that they're spending here, there, and everywhere to ensure that they can put criminals away? You have to give them good representation. Then you have to make a better case for their incarceration than that lawyer makes for them to not be incarcerated. But you have to give them that representation. So y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button. Share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. For all my people with a retirement, y'all listen, do you see what's going to happen when the Democrats get back in control? Don't you want to protect your retirement before that happens? It's not going to be any money left, people. There's not going to be any money left. Go to Paralegal, PARALEGOLD.com. Talk to my people at Augusta Precious Metals about protecting your money, people. Come on, what more do you need? They can't even provide public defenders nowadays. This is just loco. Call them at 844-651-8334. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for liking. Thank y'all for loving. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.